In today's video, I'm going to try to fix this Game Boy Color. One of its buttons, the A button, isn't working. And it's not a simple issue of dirty contacts or anything like that because I've cleaned them thoroughly. Now, I was going to do a video on repairing these Dr. Dre Beats. I got them for free because one of the headphones wasn't working, so I thought it might be an interesting fix. But when I got them home, I found out not only were they fake, but they were quite badly damaged. They'd been tampered with before, and it'd probably take a lot more time than I was willing to invest to actually fix them, especially given they're fake. But then, at about the same time, I found one of the buttons on this Game Boy Color stopped working. Now, this is the Game Boy Color from a video I did previously, so I'll link that video down below and up top. And it was working back then, but then all of a sudden it stopped working. And you can see the button isn't doing anything. I can't actually get past that menu screen because the button doesn't work. So that's the issue. Now, I know it's not dirty contacts. If it was dirty contacts, then I probably wouldn't make a video about it because it wouldn't make for the most interesting fix. It's something a bit different. But let me show you the contacts on the board, just to prove that they are quite clean and that isn't the issue. So these Game Boy Colors are a dream to open up, very easy. I'll just carefully flip the board over. It's reasonably clean. Now then you might think, well, it could be the membrane, the button membranes. Now these are new button membranes from AliExpress. But over here I've got a working Game Boy. I know this Game Boy works. I know both the buttons work. And I'm going to swap over the membrane just to double check that it's not a button membrane issue and prove to you that there's something more going on here. Alright, now for the moment of truth, we have Mario in here and it's not skipping the intro again. So again, the button isn't working. So it's not the membranes, and it's definitely not the contacts, the button contacts at least, on the circuit board. So must be something else going on here. Some kind of trace that's perhaps been damaged. I expect there to be some kind of corrosion perhaps. But let's open it up and take a closer look, see what the problem might be. Right, now we're zoomed in, you can see if we take a look at the button contacts, just there, they look pretty good. I don't see any kind of issues with those. Now you can see U10E is actually the worst looking of the two. There's a tiny trace of copper remaining from what I see. Let's take a look at the back. So these wires are going to lead to a point at the back of the board here. See if we notice any corrosion there. The back looks pretty decent, actually. Don't notice anything too out of place. Just going to take the move this ribbon cable. That way I can remove the circuit board from the case and the screen at the front. So pop those two black tabs up like that. And that should come out fairly easily. There we go. Okay, let's take another look at the back there. Yeah, looking pretty good. It looks like the front is the main problem. And I wonder if it's U10E. That looks very suspect to me. I have my multimeter set to continuity mode. On the left is the Game Boy that works. Now on my right is the faulty one. So I'm just going to check continuity between the tracks on the good board first and then compare it to the bad board, seeing if we can find a broken track that way. Start off with this testing pad here, P10. Continuity. About 850 ohms. Continuity. About 850 ohms. Okay, U10E. Nothing. Nothing for any of them. I'll try again. Try and get better contact there. So nothing for U10E. How about U9? We have about 730 ohms there. And 735 ohms there. Again, just try U10. Yeah, nothing there. Okay. No continuity between any of those three, U10, U9 or P10 pad. Right, let's try the broken board. Continuity. Nothing. Interesting. We have about 850 ohms there before. Whereas, let's have a look. Yeah. Ooh. There we go. About 850 ohms. So something is not connecting there. They're showing no connection whatsoever. Yeah, nothing. Interesting. Okay, let's now try U10E. So on the good board it read nothing. And yeah, there's nothing coming, no continuity there. Let's try U9. 735 ohms. About 735 ohms. Okay. So that's pretty much the same. About 730 ohms. And again, U10E, no connection. Right, so the only problem I found, or the difference I found so far between the good board and the bad board, is when testing the continuity with the P10 testing pad and the different button contacts. You have the P10 there. These two button contacts are not showing any resistance values whatsoever, whereas on the good board it shows about 835 ohms, suggesting that there is a problem maybe with one of those traces. So these wires, U10E and U9D, they're going to lead around the other side of the board, and they'll be around this capacitor here. So that is U10E there. It looks a bit corroded, and there's U9D. So I can scrape some of that corrosion away. But the other wires along the back look fine. So I'll do a continuity check now just to see if U10E and U9D are actually connecting to the other side of the board. Okay, U9D is connecting to the other side. I was expecting that. It doesn't look too bad. U10E is the one that looks most dodgy to me. Let's make sure I got the right wire around the back. It is fiddly. Nothing. So could it be that? Let's try this wire here just next to the P10 test pad. So could it be U10E is not connecting to the other side of the board? The wire, even though there is a little bit of metal in that wire, but is there enough? And that wire is working as well. It's U10E. That seems to be a problem. Okay, what I'll do is, since there is a little bit of copper there remaining, I'm going to try and put a bit of solder there. So what I'll do, as you can see, there is a tiny trace of copper here. What I'm going to attempt to do is put a bit of solder here. Hopefully it will attach to that little bit of remaining copper and flow through to the other side and reconnect the U10E wire to the other side where it's meant to go. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get any solder on this whatsoever. I'll try to do it. Such a little tiny amount of copper remaining. They might have done it, I'm not sure. Let's give it another test to find out. Oh, seems we might have a connection. Try and get a better position on that. Oh, there we go. Right, so it might have worked. Okay, well, let's hope it's that trace. Let's pop the ball back in and give it another try. In my hurry to get the Game Boy back together, I forgot to put the switch in, but that's okay. I'll just use the tweezers to turn it on and off. Okay, well, here's the moment of truth. And it's not looking good. No, still not working. Okay, so maybe there was more problems. So clearly there's something else going on. I still believe it's a broken track, a broken connection. But which one, I have no idea. Okay, I just noticed these up here as well. I'd missed that before because it had been kind of peeled away, but there's a tiny wire there. Just see there, and one up just above it as well. They don't look in the best shape, especially the one just above U10E. So I'm wondering as well if that might be another broken trace that needs fixing. Okay, so I'll put my multimeter on continuity and let's just see if they're reading across the other side. I'm just going to find... So I'll try the better looking one first. Nothing. Whoop. Yeah, it is making a connection, right? So that one's okay. Now let's do the dodgy one just above U10E. Now this one. Oh, right. So that's connecting as well. It looks bad, but it's not. It's still connecting. It's still working apparently. Right. So what I'm going to do now, just turn the boards on their sides. I'm just going to see if the wires are connecting with other wires on the front of the board here. So it connects with those. So this is the good board, by the way. It's also connecting with those button pads. Now let's try it on the bad board to see if we get the same kind of readings. Try the button pads first. Yep. That's exactly what we had on the good board. Yep. Okay. So that seems to be working fine. Now let's get back to the good board and try the dodgy looking one at least. The dodgy looking one above U10E. So it's connecting fine. It connects to those button pads as well. It's also connected to the other wire that's close by. Let's try it on the bad Game Boy. So that's connected to the wire close by, like on the good board. Ooh, is it working with these? Yes, it is. Okay, and is it connecting with those other wires? I would say yes at this point. It seems, although it looks bad, it seems to be working. Okay, so at this stage it seems to be working fine. The dodgy looking wires are actually, by my readings, making connections to where they're supposed to be connecting and going to the other side of the board as well. Unfortunately, there's this white stuff over the board, so it's hard to track the traces and where they go and spot broken ones. So I decided to turn to Google to try to find a schematic to help me figure out what's going on, where the broken traces are. And I came across this thread here. someone else had the same problem with their A button not working. I did find the Game Boy schematics, as you can see here, and I was planning on kind of going over them, seeing if I can make any sense of them at all, and work out how to fix that A button. But then I found that a solution was given, and that was to have the P10 test pad have a jump wire going from there to another point on the board. It's hard for me to explain where that point is, so I'll just show you in this picture. So in this picture just here, where that 370 marking is, that pin down to the P10 test pad. So they run a jump wire there, and it seemed to work. So what I'm doing now is I'm also running a jump wire from that P10 test pad to that via, as was suggested in that message board. And I'm just going to add a bit of flux to help the solder flow a bit better. So what I think this is meant to do is it bypasses that broken trace. If the broken trace is located between that test pad and that pin, then it will bypass it entirely, and we don't have to fix it up. So I believe this via goes somewhere to a pin on the CPU. I'm going to have to hold this down. There we go, that's on. So the Game Boy Color is not fitting together properly. I think it's the wire. It's too thick. I need to add a thinner wire in there, but that's okay. I'm just going to test it for now, just to see if it works before I do that. Probably just try reseat it again. Hope I haven't broken it. Okay, it's working. Yeah, I just needed to put. Oh my! It's working. It's working. There we go. So that does work. Well, it did work in my case, at least. Wow, it seems almost too easy. Brilliant. Well, happy about that. So that was such a satisfying fix to just put that little jumper wire in and then just have it work like magic. So what I do now is I just do the same thing, but just with a thinner wire I'm using here instead of the red wire, because of course the red wire was a little bit too thick, and I think that was preventing me from getting my Game Boy Color back together properly. Now, is it going to fit? It looks like it is clicking into place. Alright, so that thinner wire has done it. And let's give it another crack with Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Just make sure it's still working. And it's working. Yeah, great. So there we go. That's brilliant. Well, I was really surprised actually how easy that was. Obviously, there was a broken trace there, and that jumper wire bypassed it. So if you have a similar kind of issue, you can try that, and it might work for you too. I'll leave the link to that Reddit post in the description below, and the schematics if you're trying to fix your Game Boy Color. You want to check those out for yourself. That's it for this video. I hope it's been helpful. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have fixing this Game Boy Color. If you have liked the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Thank you for watching as always, and I hope to catch you in the next one.